This graph that I'm showing on screen is probably the reason why you failed to lose weight and get lean. If you don't understand the valley of despair and how exactly to navigate it, you're pretty much just doomed to repeat the cycle of failing to lose weight. But don't worry, in this video I'll explain exactly what it is and how to navigate it so that you can lose weight and get to your dream physique. If you don't know me already, my name is Ardi. I've lost over 25 kilograms, I've gotten lean, and now I'm helping people do the exact same. Let's get straight into it. So this is the valley of despair that I talked to you about in the intro. So let's go through the stages and what they are and outline how to conquer this so that you can actually reach your goals of getting lean and getting an aesthetic physique. Stage number 1 is the uninformed optimism. Now this is when you get inspired by something or you start something because you're really motivated to do it. So for example, every single time that I watch a Rocky film or a Creed film, for example, I always want to start boxing afterwards. I think it's just something that happens in like the male brain where you see someone go through their journey of becoming a boxer and then finally defeating that main guy at the end and getting all this achievement. But back to the point, every single time I want to start boxing, okay, that would be my uninformed optimism stage where I sort of get that feeling like I know everything about boxing because I watched the film, okay? And so, I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna become a boxer and it's gonna be sick. Now, more relevant to losing weight, you might get inspired by something like, you might see a transformation reel online on Instagram and, you really feel like you could do that as well. Or you see some sort of like bodybuilder talking about how to lose weight and how easy it is and stuff. And then you get influenced by that and you think, hell yeah, I could do it. This is me. Weight loss is going to be so easy. I'm just going to go and I'm going to smash it. Now, cool. That's amazing for motivation and inspiration because you're only beginning, because you haven't really dipped your toes into the pool just yet. You sort of feel like you just know everything. Just because, you've been inspired or you've been motivated, you think that you know everything about the subject. And motivation at this point is at an all-time high. That's stage 1. But then, as you go in and as you try the thing or the topic, so for example, I love watching those like medical dramas like Dr. House or The Good Doctor, and for a time that also made me want to become a doctor. So that's step 1. I think I watched this show and I think it's so easy to become a doctor. Step 2 is actually figuring out how to start studying to become a doctor, and step 2, or stage 2 rather, is informed pessimism. This is when shit gets rough. You realize that this journey is not all sunshine and rainbows. You start studying to become a doctor, you open the fucking textbook and it's like 25 million words and you're just like, I have to memorize all of this. It's pretty much at the point where you realize the amount of work that you need to put in. So if we go back onto this stage, this is informed pessimism. There's a line and this is where like your motivation and your inspiration starts to dip quite heavily just because you realize how much work has to go into the topic at hand for you to become competent or for you to become what you want to do within that particular topic. So it could be like losing 12 kilograms, or it could be winning your first boxing fight, or it could be to qualify as a doctor, for example. Yeah, so the initial motivation or inspiration spike begins to die off within like 3 days, most commonly within a day, because as I've said before, every single time that I watch a Rocky or a Creed film, I go to bed thinking I'm going to become the next best boxer, but then I literally wake up the next day and then it's fucking like 6 a.m. and I told myself yesterday that, oh yeah, I was going to go for a run, I was going to go for a 5k run, but then I wake up and I'm like, fuck that, fuck becoming a boxer, fuck going outside in the cold, fuck all of that, I'm staying in and I'm just being me. That's when my motivation and inspiration had run out. What this could look like is that maybe you actually, start boxing, you go to a boxing gym, you join a gym if you're trying to lose weight, or you start running, you get up off your couch and you start running. But then you just realize how hard the fucking journey is going to be and how much like effort and work is going to have to go into it. If I join a boxing gym and then I spar against the best person in that gym, I'm going to realize like that gap between me and him is going to be so large, it's going to be so demotivating, and I'm going to realize just how much work there's going to have to go in to get me to that place. Because seeing it on a screen, me watching the Rocky films on a screen is like easy enough, okay? You spend like a couple hours just watching it. He becomes a shit boxer to a good boxer in like a space of a couple hours. That makes you think you can do it. But then you actually go and try it, and then you realize just how much sheer effort, like work ethic, is needed. Basically, reality hits you like a fucking brick. And that brings us on to the third stage, which is the valley of despair. This is where most people quit, okay? You realize just how hard losing weight or becoming a boxer is. The point where you thought you'd be and the point where you are now, there's such like a big distance between them that you think it's impossible to cross that gap. This is where the amount of negative thoughts is absolutely overwhelming. You'd constantly be questioning yourself and whether any of this like is worth it. So this can be like maybe week 2 of a diet. You know, you haven't lost too much weight just yet, but you're putting in a shit ton of work, and like the results aren't really, you know, showing themselves just yet. You know, you don't really look that shredded, or you don't really look like you've lost a lot of weight. You're constantly questioning yourself. Is, you know, restricting my calories, is cutting out junk food, is going to the gym even worth it? Is the effort going to be worth it for that end result? This is pretty much where all of your motivation has run out, and the initial results of you losing weight has slowed down. So for example, maybe you've lost the water weight, and maybe you've lost a kilogram or 2 kilograms, but then now weight loss slows down and it gets significantly harder to stay on track because your cravings kick in, all of your old habits kick in, you want to be lazy. It gets much harder to stay on track. And it's at this point where you're putting in a lot of work, but you haven't seen that much results, paired with the fact that your motivation is at an all-time low. Those two things together literally mean that 99% of people will quit, guaranteed, at this stage. I'll say that one more time. Their motivation is at an all-time low because they realize how much work they have to put in to get to the result. Second, they don't actually have that much results, even though they've been doing it for a little while, for like maybe 2 weeks. They've been putting in effort, but they haven't seen results. When motivation is low and they haven't seen results yet, that is like what's the word for it? That's like the catalyst for making most people quit. But there is an upside. There's a very big upside. If you just get through this phase, and by phase I mean the valley of despair, if you can get through that phase for however long it lasts, it might last different lengths for different people. I think mine lasted until I really started to see results and I could see my body becoming what I really wanted it to. I think for me it was really long. It was maybe like 3 or 4 weeks. I was stuck in this valley of despair, and the way that I got through it was just not giving up, and literally just to have blind self-belief in what I was doing would work. But basically, if you can get through this, the main battle is just getting through the valley of despair. If you can get through that, it starts to compound and you start to get so much more results. So let's move on to the next stage, which is stage 4, informed optimism. Oh yeah, by the way, I also want to say like the meaning of the stages, okay? So stage 1 is uninformed optimism. Optimism is like when you're looking forward to something, or like you're really hopeful that something would work, but you're uninformed because you don't know the amount of work that it's going to take to get to that point. Now, pessimism means that you're really negative and you don't think that certain things are going to work because you become informed of the challenges and of the hard work that it's going to take to get to that point. Stage 3 is just the valley of despair, when you just fall into a valley and you're full of despair pretty much. But optimism is where you start feeling hopeful again. But this time, instead of being uninformed, you're now informed of all the challenges, and despite that, you got through the valley of despair, and now you're feeling hopeful again, even though there's all of these challenges. And that is when you start making the most progress that you ever have made. This is informed optimism. This is where you persevere through the valley of despair and you actually make it through to the other side. Now, this is where the results kick in, okay? This for me was about week 5 or 6 of my weight loss phase, where I could see myself getting leaner and leaner week by week, which just causes your momentum to be picking up week by week. And I talk about this momentum being like a snowball, okay? When you build more and more momentum, it pretty much like doesn't let you cheat on your diet or fail on your diet because you've put in so much work before. This is actually something called the sunken cost fallacy. basically, just because you put in a lot of effort and a lot of time into something, you're much more reluctant to not quit and to not leave it. So for example, a person in a 5-year relationship is a lot more resistant to leaving that relationship than a person in a 3-month relationship. Why? Just because they've invested so much more time, effort, resources and money into that 5-year relationship that they don't want to see it go to waste. Just like that, I've invested like 4 or 5 weeks into my weight loss phase, and so if I fuck it up now, all of that time is going to go to waste. So I can't let myself do that. So this is where your momentum starts kicking in and you pick up your stride, losing more and more weight week by week. And yeah, as I've said before, momentum is literally the most important thing here. Stage 5, so success and fulfillment. This is a really simple stage. This is basically where you've made it through to the promised land. You've gotten through whatever battles they were present at the Valley of Despair. You've made a lot of progress. You've been hopeful, you've been sticking to your work, and you've made it through to the informed optimism, and you continually kept on making changes and continually kept on making progress. And you've come out the other side and you've achieved whatever it is that you set out to achieve right at the start. So you've become a boxer, or you've qualified for medical school. This is basically where you reap your rewards. Okay, this is where you reach that goal and you reap your rewards. This is like the most straightforward stage. And going back to the Valley of Despair for a second, the first 3 stages, this is a really important point. The first 3 stages, that's where people quit. So I've told you that most people quit at the Valley of Despair, right? After they quit, they've got no choice but to go back to stage 1 of the same topic or of a different topic. So for example, a person really wants to become a boxer. They get to the Valley of Despair and they quit. Then they really want to lose weight. They get to the Valley of Despair and then they quit. They really want to, become a artist. They get to the Valley of Despair and then they quit. And so that person would continually keep on repeating this cycle again and again and again and again throughout their life. And basically they won't make any progress in it until they can get through the Valley of Despair. Or for another example, a person might try and lose weight, get to the Valley of Despair, quit, and then 2 months later they feel really inspired and motivated by something again. They try, they get to the Valley of Despair, they quit, and then like a year down the line they finally realize that they need to change. They get to do stage 1, stage 2, they reach the Valley of Despair this time, they nearly get to stage 4, but then they quit, and then they go back to stage 1. So now that you've seen this far into the video, I want you to sort of think back to your failed weight loss attempts in the past, okay? And think about, where did you quit on your weight loss journey? And think about the sort of reasons why. Did you listen to your negative thoughts? Did you not do the work because it was too difficult? Did you cheat on your diet? I want you to think about where you were in this stage and think about how you're gonna get through and smash through that same point in your upcoming diet. And I've got a few tips on how to do that. So how do you get through the main battle? So literally, getting to your goals is quite literally 90%. I'm actually going to change that to 95%. Getting through the Valley of Despair. This is the hardest point. This is where you have to pull yourself out of that deep, dark, negative hole that you've put yourself in and make it through to the other side. So most of the tips here will just be focused on getting through the Valley of Despair. So the only way that you can get through the Valley of Despair is through sheer blind belief that you can make it no matter what. This is why having a why behind your goals is so important. A strong why literally pushes you and carries you throughout this valley. When you don't give yourself another option other than succeeding, you won't fail. And it pretty much protects you against all of these negative thoughts because you don't listen to them, because you have to get through to the other side. So for example, I remember very, very clearly what my why was, and it was the fact that I've never been lean before. I had never seen my abs before. I didn't even know if I had abs, to be honest. And I know that sounds really stupid because, everyone biologically, they have, the physical muscle of abs underneath. But I was even doubtful of that because I'd just never seen them before. And so I didn't want to be on my deathbed sort of just regretting that I never took my body up to its full potential. And I still haven't, to be fair, I haven't completed it or anything. But I didn't want to be there on nearly dying, 90 years old, just wondering what could have happened if I lost the weight earlier and stuff. So that was my why. I didn't want to be in that position. And so because I didn't want to be in that position so strongly, I strongly wanted to resist that so bad. I didn't listen to any of my negative thoughts. When the thoughts came in like, oh, I couldn't do it, this isn't worth it, this isn't that, this isn't this, I didn't listen to any of them because I didn't want to get lean, I needed to get lean. And that's why you need to identify your why behind losing weight, and it has to be strong enough to get you through this valley of despair. Yeah, and as I was saying, like, you feel all of those doubts, but you don't listen because the fact is that you need to achieve your goals, and this need to achieve your goals will override any and all other feelings that you could possibly have. You need to realize that you need to put in so much work that you're just gonna have to get results one way or another. You need to be taking like so much action that even the universe like looks down at you and says, yeah, alright, you know what, fuck it, this is ridiculous, like this guy, let's just give the guy something at least. If you don't feel like you've been putting enough action to make you deserve the results, you don't deserve them. Like, I'll be real, if you haven't got the results, it's because you haven't put in the work. You might think that the work you've been putting in deserves some results, but the fact is, if you haven't got any, you don't deserve them, not yet. You need to put in more work and more commitment and more effort and more willpower. When it's at that point where you force the universe to give you your results, that is when the results start coming in. And when it rains, it pours. So you need to drive through and pretty much shatter the valley of despair and power through this phase if you want to reach your goals. Now, for you, like specifically for you watching this, I don't actually know what stage you're in, but chances are you've been through the first 3 stages of the valley of despair, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or otherwise, you know, you wouldn't be watching this, okay? That means you're fat right now. You watching this means you're overweight or you're fat, because if you were already at stage 4 or stage 5, you would already be lean. So chances are the main battle for you as well is going to be getting through this valley of despair. So that means at a point in the future, you're going to face this valley. And you've got 2 choices. You can power through with sheer action and sheer intention with the power of having your why behind the goal, or you can just give up and go all the way back to stage 1 and never reach your goals. I mean, both options, to be fair, involve a lot of pain, okay? I'll be real, involve a lot of work and pain. But in the end, it is up to you to decide which one you want. I know what I'd pick. I mean, I know what I have picked before in the past. I really hope you've learned something new from this video. Let me know how it goes in the comments, man. Let me know about your previous journey with the valley of despair as well. Like what point did you quit at? I'd actually be really interested to know. And also, if you've got any like general comments or general questions about this video, you can leave them in the comments. I pretty much read like every single comment, so you have like 100% chance of yours getting read. Now, if you want to get a copy of this particular board so that you can keep it and, you know, personalize it to yourself and use it yourself, then just DM me on Instagram, adif.bhuvan. Where is it? Yeah, just DM me on Instagram, adif.bhuvan, and I'll send it over to you completely for free. So if you want to lose a bunch of weight and you want my personal help in doing so, you know, you can feel free to scroll down and check out the link in the description. You don't have to, like, it's not for everyone, but if you feel like you just need like an extra helping hand, then you can do so. So thank you so much for watching and sticking around, man. I really do hope that you have an amazing day ahead of you.